And he'd never, ever, not even once, felt happy to see his sister before. But her sky blue car wasn't parked in the driveway. Strange, he thought with a frown. She always parked there, while his parents used the two-car garage. But maybe she'd end up going out with her friends. After all, she did have a later curfew now that she was 16. That could also be why she had forgotten to pick him up. Todd probably distracted her. Ugh, gross. Barry reached the front door and fished his keys out of his pocket. He slid the key into the lock, but it didn't fit. It wouldn't even slide into the slot. What the heck? He retracted it from the lock and examined it. It looked normal enough, but maybe it had gotten damaged in the escape. He rang the doorbell and knocked a few times, then waited. A few seconds later, he heard footsteps padding up to the door. Then the deadbolt twisted. The door cracked open. Warm light spilled out onto the porch. Barry was momentarily blinded, but then, when his vision cleared, what he saw shocked him. An older woman's face peered out of the crack in the doorway. Can I help you?" she asked, sounding worried. "What's a nice young man like you doing out so late?" "Right. I live here," Barry said, backing away. "This is my house." He scanned the address.
I got it.
Good. But he was sure this was the right place. He knew his own house. He'd lived there his whole life. "What do you mean?" the old woman said, adjusting her glasses. "I think you've made a mistake. Young man, are you feeling okay?" Where are my parents?" Barry stammered, feeling alarmed. "Where's my sister? What did you do with them?" "Do with them?" she asked with a frown. "Why, whatever do you mean?" "The Darlings," Barry said, plowing ahead. "This is our house. Where are they?" "Oh, that name does ring a bell," she said with a curt nod. "We bought the house from them, but that was ages ago." "No, that's impossible," Barry said. "I was here earlier today. My family lives here. This is our house." "Well, there must be some mistake," she said, pursing her lips. "The Darlings haven't lived here in a very long time." "Wait, what do you mean?" Barry said, his mind reeling and struggling to process what she was saying. "I believe they moved into the retirement community across town," she went on. "The nice one across from the park. I heard their daughter married a local fellow and lives in another state with her husband and kids. Let me see, what was his name? Oh, Ted? Or Todd? Something like that. You know how these real estate agents love to gossip." "Retirement community?" Barry said, realizing what this meant. His parents had grown old. Rita? Married? Kids? The horror of that struck him like a dagger to the heart. "Come to think of it, there was this local tragedy a while back," the woman continued with a sad shake of her head. "Read about it in the papers long before we bought the house from them. They had a son. He was about your age, I reckon." "A son?" Barry choked out. Tears pricked his eyes. "Yeah, he went missing down at the marina during a bad storm," she said. "But that was a few decades ago." "He went missing?" Barry repeated, his brain reeling from the information. Suddenly, he remembered what the security guard had said about the marina being dangerous for lost boys. "Yep, he surely did," the woman said. "His name was Barry. Yes, that's it. Barry Darling. It was an awfully long time ago, but you don't forget something like that. Terrible tragedy that was." "They never found him?" Barry said, the words coming out in barely a whisper. She shook her head. "Nope, they never did find him. Not even a body. They think he must have fallen into the ocean and drowned. Awful. Just an awful tragedy." "No, he's alive," Barry gasped. The words were almost inaudible. "He didn't die. He just got a little lost, but he came home." "He's coming home, don't worry." "What was that, son?" the woman said, squinting at him suspiciously. She opened the door more to see him better. Wait, what did you say your name was again? But Barry could barely hear what she was saying. His ears were ringing from shock, drowning out her voice. Before she could interrogate him further, he bolted off down the street, heading for Michael's house. Even though he feared that he would find what he would find there, he cut through to the backyard and peered through the bedroom window. But there was no video game console or outer space comforter or skateboard lying by the door. Okay, go ahead. Instead, the bedroom was decorated with every shade of pink imaginable. It's stuck? Yeah, it's stuck. Here you go, sweetie. Thank you. You're welcome. Instead, the bedroom was decorated with every shade of pink imaginable. A little girl with blonde curls lay in the bed in a pale blue nightgown. Her father was perched on the edge, tucking her in. He had a receding hairline and wore glasses, but his face looked vaguely familiar. Daddy, tell me the one about Captain Hook and the Lost Boys again, she said, her curls bouncing angelically around her face. That one's my favorite. The father looked sad. Once upon a time, my best friend Barry found a rusty old pirate hook on a ship and made a wish to never grow up. Michael? Barry stared at the middle-aged man in shock. That was his best friend? Unable to believe his eyes, Barry backed away from the window. The horror of it rushed through him. He looked down at his still child-sized hands, even though it felt like he was only gone for a short time. Decades had passed. Michael had grown up and had a family of his own now, while Barry hadn't aged a day. His parents were elderly and lived in a retirement community, while his sister was married with kids. In fact, everyone in his life had grown up, all while he was held captive on Captain Hook's ship. His wish to never grow up truly had been a terrible curse. This was Hook's final revenge. And that is the end of the Disney Chills Second Star to the Fright. I hope you enjoyed this just as much as I did, and I hope that you learned a lesson here about what it means to really truly wish for something and have it come true, especially if you wish to never grow up. Till next time, guys, stay safe. See you real soon.